Hello everyone, this is Sheree from Turquoise Dreaming. How you doing tonight? I hope you're doing well and welcome to my channel. I wanted to get back to you on this project, making a journal from a digital kit. So as you can see, I have quite a bit of a mess kind of looking area here on my desk, and that's because I thought the next step I would concentrate on, and this is kind of my process, is developing the cover. You know, everybody has their own way of doing things, and some people do their pages first and then their cover. But I feel like, to me, in my process, the cover is kind of like, almost kind of like my foundation. I like to develop the cover and then let that be my guide for what I put inside. So I've got out quite a few elements here, and I just wanted to show you what my thought process is, so that maybe could help someone, you know, develop their thought process and their process in creating a journal from a digital kit. So I want it to be like a traveler's notebook, but a small one, a small size, and I want it to be, I wanted to use cardstock, so I have some cardstock out here. And I already cut it down to size. It just started out as like an 8.5 by 11 type size. And I just, you know, showed you my pages the other night that I already have cut. So what I did was I went through those pages and to see if I wanted any of the pages as a cover, or do I want to use a piece of ephemera on the cover and then some other type of background. So that's what you can do. You can use a background fabric and then layer your ephemera. Say if you want, you know, have your background fabric, or you can even just use cardstock if you wanted to, and then have some type of layering, book pages, you know, any type of, you know, crochet material, or you know, any type of layering like that, that you put under ephemera and around it and things like that to layer. So you could go through that, and that's what I did. I was thinking I'd really like to just, you know, do some layering on the front, you know, and on the back have some fabric or something. So I was experimenting and holding things up to the cover and trying to decide what to do. And then I went through the paper to see if there's any paper, any of the pages I wanted to use. And so 2 of them clicked. So I think I might be making 2 journals, because I put this one on here and it just was like, because I love postal related things also. And this has the postage right here. And I like the way this, you know, this was a smaller size that I printed out on this copy. And I like the way everything looks here, the postage and the butterfly. And then this one, say this is the front cover, and then you flip it around and back, and this is what the back cover would look like. And so I really like that a lot. And then, I mean, I love it actually. And then here's another piece that I also love. This one, you know, you're saying, well, isn't that the same? No, it's not the same. They both have this postage right here, but see, they both have these butterflies and postage right here and down here. But then this one has this big butterfly right here that wraps around the back, and I thought that was so cool. So I really like that also. So I was like, oh, I love both of these. How do I choose? So I might end up making 2, and I probably will, because I already cut out 2 pieces of cardstock. And what I did for my cardstock was I cut it, you know, I just really, it was, you know, it went out here with the 8.5 by 11, say, and I just went over to my cutter. I put the paper on here, or my page, and just cut right here, cut that strip off. And then I folded up the bottom to make a pocket. So that's where I'm at with the cardstock and the pages. So I've kind of picked out my cover, what I want to put over my cardstock for the front and back, outside cover, and then now I'm picking out what I want on the inside cover. I'm thinking I want something really pretty. I always like to put something really pretty on the inside, and you know, it would go here and over the pockets. So I'm looking through, and I'll show you what I'm looking through. I pulled out a bunch of stuff here, and I'm looking through, and these could be possible pages too, because they're all really pretty papers that could be pages or you know, on inside covers. So I've got this stationery that's really pretty, has flowers, and I like to add, you know, to my digital kit journals other papers from my stash. I think that makes it you know, I just think that really makes it. And you know, it just, you know, the reason I'm saying this is because I saw a comment that someone said, I don't like digital kits because you're just putting, it's kind of like, you're just putting, I don't know, they just said something like it was just putting paper together and it's thin, and you know, they didn't think it looked good, it wasn't real or something like that. So you know, I can understand what they're saying, but how you make it real is all about how you make your journal. So one way to make it real, or however you want to put that, is to add other papers from your stash. And if you're worried about the papers being too thin, one thing I noticed when, okay, so you print out the page, say you're printing it out. If you're worried about the paper being too thin, you can always get thicker paper like parchment or something, you know, really heavy duty paper, and print it out. I just use plain copy paper, which I don't think it's really thin, but you know, it is paper, copy paper. And so one thing I noticed when you coffee dye it, I don't know if it's my imagination, but does it seem thicker? It seems thicker to me and more sturdy. And also what I've done is, if I'm worried about a piece of paper being too flimsy or thin, is I layer it with another piece of paper. So I will just layer, say I wanted, and I have done this in some of my journals, I take my one copy and then I'll see how it's coffee dyed on the back. I'll take another one and just put it right on the back, and you can glue them together or you can sew them together. And you know, sewing is a really neat, you know, addition to the journal. So if you want to sew them together, then you would have a double, you know, thicker piece of paper, and then you have also a double, you know, front and back picture. So that's another way to make your paper thicker. And you can glue these or sew these to anything. You could sew them to scrapbook paper or wrapping paper or whatever other papers you're using in your journal. So there's lots of ways to, if you're worried about just your copy paper and being too thin, you can layer it. So back to the papers that could be the inside of the cover or pages in my journals. I've got, like I said, this stationery, and then I looked through and I was looking for butterflies and blues and other things like that I had in my stash. So I have this wrapping paper, which is a possibility, and then I haven't decided on these yet. I just pulled these out so I could decide. I have another wrapping paper here, really pretty with the blues. I don't know if that's too bright, but it does have little butterflies on it too here, and flowers and things. So that could be a nice addition to the journal. This one is a more gardening theme and more colorful, but it also has butterflies on it. So I just pulled it out just in case. Like I said, I haven't decided. This one is floral, and it also has a butterfly. I pulled it pretty much out everything with a butterfly on it, just to, you know, because I don't know right now. I'm kind of developing the whole thing. So that's my possibilities on the pages that I'm adding besides the digital kit. And then another thing I pulled out I was going to show you is, say this is my cover. You know, I don't want to just have this as my cover. I want more to it. I want it to be, you know, I want my journals to have kind of a wow factor and just to look really pretty from the outside, and when you open it up, just to look really pretty. So I have pulled out this rickrack right here. And I went into my rickrack stash to look for blue, and I actually don't have any blue to match that. So, but as I was looking for the blue, I kind of immediately went to black, and I thought, this has a lot of black in it and dark colors, and wouldn't that be a great accent to add to this cover? Some black rickrack on the edge right there would just add a punch and just a layer right there to make it just look so pretty. And I thought, well, I'm going to want something over here on the spine. So I have two things that could be used for the spine. I have this bigger rickrack, which is a possibility. So if you can picture this over here on the spine, and that could go like, I could put a piece on each side, and I don't want my hand to be in the way there, but I need to hold it down. So that could be on the spine, say one piece on each side, possibly, you know, front and back. Or the other possibility is I have some, I think this is called seam binding. And this could be also, you know, how this, let's see, this one is this is a single layer. So I don't know if I could get this to go right on the spine like this. That's a possibility. And that would be pretty. And it wouldn't cover up this butterfly, or I could even put it, you know, a piece on each side like that. It would just depend on, you know, that looks really good too, and it adds a nice punch there on the side, and it just could bring everything together. So, you know, that's where I'm at right now. I don't know if I'll put any other layering on here, any kind of, you know, crochet or doilies or anything, but that's where I'm at. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on, you know, how to bring the, you know, how to get started on your next step after you print out your pages. Say you cut them out, you cut out your ephemera, and now you need to, you know, now you need to get busy and make a journal. So I'm going to go from here off camera and start putting my cover together, and I'll come back to you with my decisions on what I do decide to do. Now I would go ahead and put this on, and probably the rickrack on the outside right here, I'll sew that on, but I will, what I do is get the paper on the front cover, I'll get the paper on the back pockets in here. I might like tuck it down in here, and so it, you know, the paper goes down in here, and then I'll put another piece right here, and I'll get that all together. So I have 3 layers there, say. And then I will put my rickrack on here. And so say this is glued in place, keep this in place, and you know, get this all glued down. Get the paper in here all glued down. And then you've got that all together. And then you sew your rickrack on so that, you know, you have that added sturdiness of actually everything being glued and sewed, and your covers just all together, and you know, nothing is coming loose because it's glued and sewed. And if you don't have a sewing machine, you could actually sew your rickrack by hand, because this is cardstock, and I think a needle would probably go through here pretty easily. And also you can just use Fabri-Tac on rickrack, and that should glue it down, and I believe it would, you know, Fabri-Tac glues down everything, or whatever your favorite glue is to glue down fabric type things. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'll come back to you with probably this finished, and then we'll get started on our pages. So I will see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're working along with me. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you get my next video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching tonight. Have a good night.